First of all, how do you feel like you're adapting? You got your same role, but it also added responsibility now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the transition's been very smooth. I think just the familiarity with the system and the players, getting Coach Neiman caught up has been the biggest thing in the last couple of months, but, really leaning on the other guys that have stayed on staff. Obviously, Coach Rich in the pass game and obviously Coach Coop up front. And, I just think it's been a new role. It's challenging, and you're learning all the aspects of it. I've done it in the past, but, just kind of adapting to that on the run has been pretty smooth transition.
Have you noticed a difference in your schedule, just balancing between what you do with your safeties versus what you do with the total defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a balance, and I think Coach does a really good job of the coordinators. Really takes us a little bit back in recruiting. He takes our areas down a little bit, so the other areas of the scripting and the planning and making sure all those things are set together. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a unit meeting balance, a position meeting balance, and you just kind of meet those things every day.
Just got done with practice 4 or 5 coming up on Thursday. What are you looking at about a third of the way in here from the defensive side?
I would say about 75% of our base stuff is in. So the biggest thing is, our offense is continuing to add stuff as we add things. It's about getting our young guys really up to speed. It isn't about Logan Wilson, I know what he can do, or Tyler Hall. It's about some of those young guys, especially up front. We want to see who can separate. So now when you start going from practice 4 into 5, 6, 7, who's going to start to separate themselves? Who's not thinking, who's putting in the time, who's picking some base schemes and technique. But we're still focused on the fundamental aspect of it, and we want to see what guys are going to take that next step to separate themselves a little bit.
Do you feel like you've got good, healthy competition on the defensive side right now across the board?
Oh, I think we got more competition than any time I've been here. And sometimes that's because we've been so top heavy. We've come into camp knowing who's going to be at what spot. But at safety, I mean, it's open. Elijah has a lot of experience, but all those other guys are trying to earn spots. I think our corners are trying to earn their reps every day, even though they have some experience. And obviously D-line, from guy 1 to guy 20 is competing out there, and we're seeing who's going to separate and make some plays. So we're leaning on the experienced guys, but it's really a spring for us to get these young guys tons of reps.
As you look at your back end with Elijah, do you see him becoming more of a leader? I know he played a lot last year and did a lot of good things. Do you see him becoming a leader of this kind of young group?
Yeah, I think he started right away from day one in winter conditioning, winter workouts. I mean, he's done a great job he's more of a leader by example, but he's doing everything on and off the field that you would expect a senior, a guy that's hungry to make his stamp would do. So I think he's doing it on a daily basis. And maturing as a player is a process. I think he's a different person today than he was when I got here 2.5 years ago. So it's awesome to see. But yeah, his leadership's coming out daily, and I'd expect him, to continue to be a leader in that back end.
Not saying he's kind of supplanted himself as one spot, but he kind of leads one spot. Who's kind of opposite him right now, and what do you think of that competition opposite of him?
Right now, for the free safety spot, Braden Smith was the one that has a little bit of experience last year. But then now we moved Rome Weber from corner to free. He's an athletic guy that continue to make plays, and he's picking up the defense really well. And then Cam Murray's behind him, kind of the third guy at that position. So those are the 3 guys in the mix that we're really looking for someone to kind of sort themselves out, as well as find a third guy that can rotate in. Like that Elijah spot last year was important. I mean, he played a lot of snaps. So you can't just go, hey, let's find 2. We got to find 3 to 4 guys that we can really rely and count on.
What have you seen out of Braden that's maybe kind of thrust him into that? Besides the experience, what else has he done to kind of put himself in a better position?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you see, he's the classic guy where you moved him from corner to free safety, and you saw that first year of just everything was new, So now, I mean, you speak to experience, but the techniques aren't new to him, the schemes aren't new to him, and you just see a confidence when you know what you're doing and you can play fast. There's just a confidence, like you see, hey, this is really Braden Smith, the football player. Like I think at times last year he was thinking and not reacting, So I think that part of him is really shown, and I expect him to go out. I challenge him every day to make plays, because I think that's what Marcus did. I mean, he made a lot of plays, and that's what Braden needs to kind of emulate.
What do these other guys got to do to get in that mix for that third, fourth, fifth guy that you just never know?
Yeah, I mean, you do never know. Injuries and all those things that can happen. I mean, it's knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and then who in the crucial moments here over our 3 scrimmages in the spring and then into the fall is going to make a play when the time's presented. You know, we want to keep putting the pressure on them and say, you know, make practice as hard as we can. So then games are easy, you know. So those are the things that we're trying to do to put pressure on these guys, give them some different looks, and then see who can communicate first and foremost. You can't be on the field if you can't communicate, but if you can do those things, then who's going to make the plays when the time's presented?
Do you feel like you've got capable guys there that they just got to continue to grow, or are you got some concern, or both? Or?
No, I think we got young guys that are very capable and very talented. It's just a matter of doing, you know, like it's doing. Like Braden was a corner, Rome was a corner. I mean, there's some transitions when you go through those growing pains a little bit, but I'll take big, long, athletic guys that can run any day, you know. So the raw product is there, and it's my job, and Coach will say that's why I got Coach on my sleeve, right? We took those guys for a reason, and we're excited about their progress.
Lastly, a couple guys, you know, you shifted around. Tyler back to corner from nickel. Take Keon, who Coach talked about, pulled his hamstring. But what have you seen about those guys that have kind of tweaked their positions elsewhere on the defense besides at the safety spot?
Well, I just think you look at a Tyler Hall, you look at a guy that can do a lot of different things. I mean, he could be a starting safety if we asked him to do it. I mean, so I think his, you know, not just his skill set, but his football acumen, like everything just puts Tyler in a really, really special place, and I think he's going to have a great senior season and beyond. And, you know, so to put him back to being, hey, you're our shutdown guy. And, you know, when you make that statement of we're going to put you back out there, we're going to try to create some coverage stuff where, hey, you're on your own, you know. So we're going to put a little more pressure on him, some different matchup things. But if we say their best guys in the inside, it might be a week where he slides in there, you know. And I think Keon's skill set, when you watched him last year, he was a big, power, physical corner. So he's a smart kid. So we know he can take that pounding. And, you know, so ask those 2 guys to do a couple different things within their skill set. We believe that it's within a realm of what they can do.
Anything else that's kind of caught your eye first few practices at any level?
Well, I mean, I would say when I'm looking at the defensive line, because I look at those guys even all the time, and I think there's some expectations that we build our defense around those guys, you know. And I would say like a Mario Mora, I mean, the way he plays, the way he flies around, I know he's not perfect in everything that Coach Cal is asking him to do, but I just love the way that kid plays, you know. And I think having our 2 most experienced defensive ends out for spring ball is giving those young guys opportunities to play and fly around. So every once in a while you'll see a guy here flash here or there. We're just looking for that consistency, and that's what spring ball is about.
Any other things in terms of the next steps for you guys here, just in the next few practices?
Well, I think you'll see, you know, practice 5 and 6, we'll put in some third down stuff. So you kind of see a lot of phase stuff going in. So from third down to red zone, and just kind of completing some of our package stuff. And then I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these scrimmage things. It's easy when you're tagging off, right? You know, and then now it's okay. That's one thing to tag off. It's another thing to get, you know, validate down or double B's down. So it's the next step of, okay, we're in those positions to make plays. Who's going to finish them off?